Product line, Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub, Dust, Juice, Nuts, Batter, and you name it, all for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for Dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special. Dad and you will be glad you did. Each purchase receives a Coleman's Dynamic downloadable cookbook. We want to say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy your day, don't forget to bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah, with Coleman's Dynamic product. Pick 6 or Pick 10. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-56.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Hey, what's happening? What's happening? It's the Monday edition of Black Focus Radio. You know how we say it, our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Of course, we always have a lot of stuff to talk about because there's a lot of stuff going on in our community that we have to address. You know, the local media is not going to address it. The national media is not going to address it. You know what? If not them, then who? We. And that's what we do every day. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I said a lot of people are getting in on the show. Do me a favor. Go ahead right now and start a watch party. Okay? Wherever you are, wherever you clicked on, it's very easy to do. Just click on watch party. When you see the logo for my show coming up, I'm going to do it here in just a second as well. Just click watch party. Hey, Dave, here's a petition we're working on. Okay. That's Cliff May. He's working on a petition. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, folks. Oh, by the way, you can, if the feed gets kind of funky today on YouTube, because it has been over the last 3 or 4 days, I'm going to post the YouTube feed here in just a second. So you can click on the YouTube feed and go ahead and be able to follow the show. That seems to be a much more reliable feed. And we're going to start doing some things with that feed as well. You'll be able to get, just like right now, we've got the dynamic Pick 6 and Pick 10 for Father's Day, and I'm going to talk about that here in just a moment, okay? Yeah, going out to the YouTube feed, and you all can check that out as well. So we're really excited about what's going on here lately with all of the social media stuff that we're getting involved with. So let's see, that's not the feed right there. So we'll find it here in a moment to find, so you all can be able to look at that. Now, while we're doing that and while we're getting all the stuff updated, I want to remind you all that my company, Coleman's Dynamic Products, has a gift box that is available. Now, let me explain to you what it is. It's a Coleman's Dynamic gift box, and it's specifically for Father's Day. So you need to go ahead and get those orders in today. It has 6 of my products. Now, you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute. What if I don't like those products? Well, that's the rub, no pun intended. You get to pick the 6 that you want in this gift box. So it's called a Pick 6. So you go out and get 6 items of my product, and I will box it, ship it to anywhere in the United States, $29.95 for plus shipping and handling for Pick 6. I'm telling you, Dad is gonna love it. So you can put peanuts in there. I've got I got a fry batter. I've got a party mix. I've got a rib juice, which is a dipping sauce or a grilling sauce, or you all might call it a barbecue sauce. I call it rib juice. I have rib nuts, which are peanuts that are sauteed in my rib rub. And of course, I have rib rub. Now, those two items, the rib rub and the rib nuts, all of them have 3 different flavors. So you might want to get hot and spicy original and scorching rib rub, hot and spicy original and scorching rib nuts. That's your 6. Or any combination. Now, if you really love Dad, you want to get the Pick 10. Really, the Pick 10 is the better deal. Okay? This is a $50 value. You get 10 items of your choice. So you can get some rib dust. Rib dust is my seasoned salt. You can get some rib juice. Oh, man. You can just add a couple of other things in there, too. That's 10 items for $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Okay? Now, here's the deal. You cannot order this on my website. You must call me at 615-554-0568. You will see a commercial going up on Facebook this afternoon. You have to call me. That's the only way you can get this Pick 6 or Pick 10. Okay? So I look forward to seeing you. Look, I promise you that you will love this. I love these folks. See, you can always tell when people are listening and they pretend that they don't listen. Okay. All right. So we're getting ready to have a class reunion. I'll type that message here in just a moment. Okay. They're trying to find out about one of my dear friends who has passed away, and I'll look at that. I'll type that message here in just a moment. Okay. All right. We'll do that. All right. So you all don't know, but I'm being a little petty right now. Okay. Specifically for some people. Yeah, this is an inside track here, folks. Okay. Alrighty then. All right. So, by the way, yesterday we celebrated Malcolm X's 93rd birthday. So you know the Black Facts is going to surround Malcolm X, but I'm going to do a couple of Black Facts. I'm going to do one of old, and then I'm going to do Reverend Barber. You know, y'all, we like some Reverend Barber, and these are going to be audio Black Facts. Quite often I tell you all that you need to download the Joynet Radio app to be able to get everything you need to know from this show. All right? So make sure you download that app, because we're getting ready to play some Malcolm. Y'all know I carry Malcolm. If I carry anybody's water, it's Malcolm X. Malcolm Little. I don't care where. I was watching an interview from a white newspaper news guy trying to get Malcolm to say why he doesn't use the white man's last name. It was classic Malcolm X. So I'm trying to decide what I want to play. I want to play Reverend Barber because Reverend Barber was on point this weekend. And I want to play Malcolm X too. Man, there was so many things. By the way, I got to read this. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in, because Black Facts might be a little extension today. Okay? Hey. I love doing Black Facts, folks. It blows you away. It really does. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into Black Facts right now.
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
All right, so here's the first Black Fact right here. Margaret and Matilda Peters. Do y'all know who Margaret or Matilda Peters is? What would you say if I told you that Margaret and Matilda Peters were two sisters and sisters. Yeah, they were blessed with melanin. Okay? Margaret and Matilda Peters came along before Althea Gibson and before Venus and Serena Williams. In fact, Margaret and Matilda Peters were black, and they were tennis stars in 1938 and 1941. These two sisters made history with their doubles record, winning 14 doubles titles between 1938, 1941, 1944, and 1953. One generation planted the seed so the next generation could get the shade. Did y'all know that? Huh? I told y'all need to, if you're not logged on to my wall, you will not know stuff like that, because we be dropping them black facts left and right. I know a lot of people don't like it. And if you're black, if you don't like it, you got a problem. You got a problem with yourself. But I know a lot of white colonizers don't like it. Because, see, once you know who you are, once you know where you came from, can't nobody put nothing over you. See, that's the key. That's why they don't teach you history in your schools, in your public schools. Because if you begin to learn history, you begin to understand that the majority of the things that go on in this country, in this world, were created by black people. They don't want you to know that, because then that starts giving you some pride. And when you get pride, you want to rise up against massa. You know what I'm saying? I tell you what, we're going to hold the Malcolm X piece until the end of the show. It's 12 minutes, so the last 12 minutes of the show, we're going to play Malcolm X, okay? But for the continuation of this black fact, I need to play Pastor Barber, because he makes it plain, okay? So while I'm setting this up, I need you all to go out and download the Joynet Radio app right now, joynetradio.com. Click on your Perspective App Store and get the app downloaded. Now, this piece is about 3 minutes. This is Pastor Barber, William Barber, who went through Texas and destroyed the moral sickness of Southern Republican politicians. Okay? Because I've told you all over and over again, you cannot be a Christian and you propose some of the things that are going on in the Republican Party. You just can't be a Christian. Sorry. You can say you're a Christian, but when you don't want to feed children, when it's okay for you to lock children up in cages, when it's okay for you to propose racism and support racism, you ain't no damn Christian, folks. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care how many scriptures you can read. I don't care how many you can quote. You have no moral fiber. So don't come to me trying to preach the word of God to me when you don't even believe in the word of God. You use it as a political tool. This is what Reverend Barber is talking about. I hope you enjoy this black fact. You have no moral fiber. So don't come to me trying to preach the word of God to me when you don't even believe in the word of God.
Corporate increases for corporation leaders. The minimum wage would be $33 an hour. Our moral center and deep religious values require that we speak on this. There are 62 million people in this country today working for less than $15 an hour, while we have 400 families that make an average of $97,000 an hour. And we lock people up who want 15 in the union. And then when it comes to the South, the real emergency is not on the border, it's inside the border. And the real emergency is down here in the South. where extremists and a greedy oligarch continues to play poor white folk and poor black folk and poor brown people against one another. When the reality is in the 13 former Confederate states, from Texas to Maryland, there are 52 million poor and low-income people. 24 million of them are white. 28 million are people of color. There are 13 million poor, uninsured people in the former Confederate states, and yet we have more politicians from these states that block health care and block living wages. 1/3 of the total number of the poor people in America come from 13 states.
Wow. Did y'all get that?
1/3 of the total poor white people in this country come from 13 states. 47% of all Texans are poor and low income. 12 million people, 4 million children, 9 million people of color, 3.7 million white. In this state, there are, while we are discussing ending a partial health care, 4.2 million are uninsured, the most in the country. And legislators and senators from this state who, when they got elected by voters in Texas, automatically got free health care, paid for by you, covering pre-existing, now want to vote and try to undermine the people having what they have. That's a form of moral sickness. When you get something only because the people elected you, and then you don't want the people that elected you to have the same thing that you have because you're more committed to the corporation than you are to the people.
Keep listening to Black Focus Radio for more.
That was Reverend William Barber. He was talking about the fact that it's amazing how we allow these politicians to pit poor people against poor people, when in fact you should be raising hell with the politicians. You also see the difference in Reverend Barber. See, Reverend Barber is an old school preacher. He's a preacher that I could get behind and follow, because he doesn't have a problem speaking the truth. You see, there's truth outside of the Bible, okay? Because the truth in the Bible should manifest itself in the people who follow the Bible. And every time a politician wants to talk about how much he loves the Lord, you ought to ask him, well, show me. Because if you're talking about killing children, if you are a politician and you don't have concern about a black man being shot down in the street because he had a cell phone, and a white man being able to run rampant and kill, rape, and destroy and pillage, and he's taken into custody by police, you got a problem. Black people don't have a problem. Poor people don't have a problem. You got a problem. And it is up to the people to remind these so-called politicians that we rule you. You don't rule us. But where are the other Reverend Barbers of this world, of this country? Where are the white Reverend Barbers? I know there's a Father Flagler in Chicago who's a Catholic priest who has done yeoman's work, a white man, in a black community to try to stop the drugs, gangs, and violence. Yet he's ostracized by his white counterparts. Hello? What can we do? So that's our black fact today. It's time for us to stand up. And one other point, and I'll move on. You know, when I was in Hawaii, you know, it's very easy in Hawaii to get enthralled and caught up in its beauty, in its majesty, in its greenery. You could very easily ignore the obvious. Now, I just named some things that you would think would be the obvious. But the obvious to me, as I rode down the interstate, when my son picked me up from the airport and we were riding back to Makakilo, as I looked across the interstate and off the sides of the interstate, I kept seeing people walking. I was perplexed. I didn't say anything, nor did I ask my son what's going on. We rode further to another area, and it became pretty obvious to me that these were encampments. I said to my son, I said, what's going on with all of those people off the side of the interstate? Because the Hawaiian interstates are different from in America. They are plush. They have lots of greenery. They have lots of trees. So you can't see, unless you get to a certain vantage point, what's down there. And come to find out, these were homeless encampments. In fact, my son told me that there were some states who were trying to buy tickets for their homeless people to ship them to Hawaii because they can be homeless year-round outside because of the weather. And I often ask myself, is that the America that we live in today? And then I have to remind myself of an America that enslaved people, of an America who still refuses to acknowledge that slavery, of an America who refuses to even apologize for that slavery. And it really came to home when I realized that, yeah, even in Hawaii, this is America. 855-525-5683 is the number. If you want to call me up and join the show, you certainly can. I hope you'll go ahead and set up a watch party for me. So when you see that video of me, what I've posted on Facebook, just go out there and hit a watch party. Okay? Go out there and hit watch party, and it'll pop up. And that way your friends, wherever they are, if they're watching, they can watch wherever they are. Folks, we have got to get the word out about Black Focus Radio. I need your help. Not because it's me, but it's because it's your show. I try to do things and put things together so that you will appreciate them and understand them and use them as a means for justice and equality. Because really, that's what this show is all about. 855-525-5683 is the number. Man, let me go ahead and read the T's. Whew, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Did somebody say Lord have mercy? The more things change, the more they stay the same. Here's a couple of things that we're going to talk about today. Of course, I've already told you about the Pick 6 and Pick 10 for Father's Day. You'll see that on the T's every day until Father's Day. But here's the main part of the T's. Did Robert Smith change the rules of the game, or did he simply enter the playing field? Now, if you don't know who Robert Smith is, you will hear in just a moment. Let me continue the T's. Those of you who applauded Smith, when was the last time you spent money at a black business? Hello? Are we, the black community, justified in demanding successful blacks to give back? More white suspects accused of heinous crimes are surviving police encounters. Prima facia evidence clearly suggests this is a racial problem. What are we doing about it? By the way, there is a thug in the governor's family. Why does he keep getting a pass? And should he be locked up before he kills somebody? That and a lot more we're going to talk about today. So let me go ahead and start with Mr. Robert Smith. Do y'all know him? Did you know him up until this weekend? Well, let me tell you who he is. He is a investor. He's one of the few black billionaires in this country. He was a keynote speaker at Morehouse College graduation this weekend. Let me say that again. He was the keynote speaker at the Morehouse graduation this weekend. Thank goodness they had a black man. But Robert F. Smith, who I said was a billionaire, during his remarks in front of nearly 400 graduating seniors, the technology investor and philanthropist surprised nearly every one of them by announcing that his family was providing a grant to eliminate the student debt of the entire class of 2019. What? Wait a minute. Now, could you imagine? And I'm sitting here looking at a picture of some of the people when he said that. There's shock and awe on their faces. These young black brothers, Morehouse isn't cheap. It is very expensive, and besides, it's a black college. It has put out some great scholars. By the way, Dr. Martin Luther King is an alum of Morehouse College. So here's a brother who's a billionaire that you all probably didn't know. Now, I knew who he was simply because I know he's in the tech field, and of course, I spent a lot of time in the tech field as well. Here's a black man who decided, and I believe the number is like $1.5 million. Do you hear me? $1.5 million. He just wrote a check. And he said that, hey, look, all of your student loans for the class of 2019, seam, ala beam, alakadabra, it's gone. I'm going to pay for it. That act made national news. In fact, I guarantee you it made international news. But it brings up an interesting question that we've addressed today. Because, you know, a lot of people, black people, oh, that's so great. On Facebook, you saw all these pictures and all these stories about Robert F. Smith, and that's great. Everybody cheering and applauding Mr. Smith because his name, you should call him Mr. So the question I asked in the tease, if you believe in what Robert Smith did, which I certainly did, I wish I could have been in that crowd, in that number. But if you believe what Robert F. Smith did, and you were cheering what he did, you believe in what he did, then why haven't you spent some money at a black business? See, you don't have to be a billionaire to support black people. Hello? Come talk to me today. All of you folks that reposted that story about Robert F. Smith, did you spend any money with a black business this weekend? Have you spent any money with a black business this week? How about this month? We're in the 5th month of the year. Have you spent any money with a black business this year? Because you're a hypocrite if you were cheering Mr. Smith and what he did for Morehouse when you refused to do the very same thing. Hello? I've told you all that our key to salvation is not in a book. It's in economic empowerment. Oh, I know you holy folks don't like me saying that. But if we don't get our finances together, then we will continue to suffer. This is why white supremacists, since the Emancipation Proclamation, sought to destroy. See, this is a story they don't tell you in history. They sought to destroy any economic development that blacks tried to develop. Go look at your history. Go look at how they stole land. Go look at how they massacred people for business encampments. We talk a lot about Tulsa, but we don't realize that 9th Street, the heinous act of hanging John Carter on the corner of 9th and Broadway in 1926 was directly related to the success of what was going on 9th Street with black businesses and black business owners. That's what they don't tell you. So it's been a purpose by white supremacists, because they understand that if we give them economic empowerment, if they develop economic empowerment, then they don't need us. So here's what I'm hoping you all will do now that you all are familiar with Mr. Robert F. Smith. I hope today you will go out and spend some money at a black business. And I hope you won't do it just because I'm motivating you to do it. I hope you will take it in your heart to understand how important it is for you, black people, to support black businesses. Let me give you some examples. We've talked about this before, and I told you that we would talk about this often. White people don't support black businesses. Asian people don't support black businesses. Hispanic people don't support black businesses. Arab people don't support black businesses. And you know what? Black people don't support black businesses. So how are we, when no ethnic group, even ourselves, refuse to support us, how are we to develop jobs? How are we, oh, that's right, we got to go to them. And long as we have to go to them for jobs, for loans, then we're at their mercy. Hello. Yeah, Dr. Smith, he empowered me. He empowered my message. Because, see, this has been my message for a long time. No, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not even a 10,000-aire. But every chance I get, I'm going to go spend some money with a brother. And yeah, the business may not be that good. There's a business right here in Little Rock where black people have been raking that sister over the coals. You still should support her because she don't have the wherewithal to help develop. You see, if you go and spend money with her, then guess what? When you bring up a suggestion, maybe she'll be a little bit more open for that suggestion. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I don't have to call no names. I'm just going by what I've heard. But if that sister is having to kick ass and take names every day just to keep the lights on, to create an environment for you black people, and you all don't support her, then you want to run in there and tell her what she ought to do? No, I'm not going to accept that either. I'm sad to say that there have been more white folks that bought my products than black folks. Let me say that again. I have had more white customers than I have black customers. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. Now, what Robert F. Smith just did for us is to make an example. Are y'all really ready to follow that example? Do you dare to follow that example? Do you say, hey, wait a minute. What he done? What did he just do? You see, what happened was, so don't cheer Robert F. Smith if you don't want to follow his lead. You say, well, I'm not a billionaire, David. I can't pay for nobody's tuition. But you can go buy a sandwich at Uncle T's. Or any black, you can go buy your hair at a black hair salon. In fact, why don't you sisters who spend all this money on this hair, why don't you all get together and say, hey, let's open right here in Little Rock. Right here in Little Rock. Why don't you all get together and say, hey, let's open a black hair salon that sells hair. A black beauty supply store in Little Rock. Why don't you, all you black folks here in Little Rock right now who have barber and beauty salons, who are looking good on Facebook, going to every event, got your fine cars. Why don't you go and work together and say, hey, let's open a black beauty salon, a black beauty supply shop that's black owned and operated. After all, we know more about hair than anyone else. Why aren't we selling hair to our people? Why aren't we selling makeup to our people? Why aren't we selling nail polish to our people? See, I know what some of y'all are already saying. I ain't gonna work with them Negroes. Them Negroes don't want anything. That says a lot about you, that you won't even entertain the thought. Yeah, my brothers and sisters, our day of reckoning is coming. And are you ready? Are you ready? Now let me read this part, because as soon as Dr. Smith did what he did in Morehouse, people went for Oprah. Now y'all know Oprah ain't black, right? See, Oprah went through this metamorphosis that she was black when she needed to be black. And then she decided that, hey, I like more money than my blackness, so I'm going to forget about my blackness and I'm going to make some money. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. I think the last show that Oprah did that was black related was the Forsyth County, Georgia show. Remember that show? Since then, Oprah, somebody white went to Oprah and said, hey, look, it was probably Harvey Weinstein or Weinstein. You know, that's a boy. Hey, Oprah, you want to make some money, you need to drop that black stuff. That's what they always do to us. Someone has told me that since I've been here. They want me to sell my soul for 30 pieces of silver so I can forget about my blackness. Man, I'm 58 years old, man. I ain't got nothing but my blackness left. So at this point, I'm not forgetting about anything. So, he has $5 billion. Oprah Winfrey. Okay. Let's see. Oprah Winfrey, and I'm just reading the story. Robert F. Smith, who the Today Show noted is the richest African American in the country at $5 billion, has unwittingly created ways for the person whom most thought was the richest black person in America, Oprah Winfrey. So y'all just learned something, right? All right. Now that Smith pledged to pay off the student loans for the entire graduating class of Morehouse, Oprah was told she should do the same. But Oprah is the one that kicked her mother-in-law out of her father's house when Vernon Winfrey died. Oprah don't give a damn about you black folks. But Oprah, 65, classily informed the critic, who suggested as much, that she does not wear a saddle. Therefore, they are not going to ride her like a horse about where and how she chooses to give back. The critic raised his head underneath this Instagram post that finds Oprah celebrating with a graduate at Colorado College this past weekend. Underneath in the comments section, a critic was blunt in what he believes Oprah should be doing. She have paid off their student debt, should have paid off their student debt. Oprah quickly came back for that individual, noting that contributions she's made to date. Already paid $13 million in scholarships, have paid over 400 men through Morehouse 1867. Okay, at Morehouse 1867. It was an obvious reference to billionaire Smith, who Rolling Out reported is going to create a foundation at Morehouse College to pay off the entire student debt of 400 graduating seniors. A throng of Oprah supporters came to Oprah's defense and blasted the critic on her IG page. Now, Oprah has done a lot. Oprah, she started a school. See, y'all want to give Oprah credit when she sometimes deserves criticism. Let me give you an example. Y'all know Oprah right now is sponsoring schools in Africa, right, for African girls. I'm not sure why she's not doing African boys, because they need schooling too. See, just because you do a good thing doesn't mean that you don't deserve criticism. See, when they ask Oprah, well, Oprah, why aren't you sponsoring girls' schools in America? That same Oprah Winfrey, who has spent $13 million on scholarship, said that black girls in America would not appreciate a free school. So she refused to start that school here in America. Did y'all know that? Hello. Now, here's my point in all of this and talking about this today. And I'm going to say it today as I always say it. If you came up in the black community, somebody in the black community helped you. Somebody gave you $10. Some little poor black woman who couldn't afford to pay her tithes and offering knew you were going away to college and decided that, hey, I'm going to give this person my last. Whether you were a football player, whether you were a basketball player, whether you played tiddlywinks, whether she supported you while you were studying, whether she prayed for you, whether whatever they did, some black person stood in your stead so they could feel good that, hey, I knew that little girl when she was this age and I helped her. You know, I know that to be a fact. Because, see, I remember when I left to go to college. I had spent my formative years at Bullet Temple CME Church, that church right across the street from Central High School. I had done announcements. In fact, as I thought about it, the reason my first foray into radio was doing the announcements at church beginning at 10 years old. And it was Mrs. Othello Faison who told them that you need to keep letting him do it every Sunday. It was that black church who reared me, who prayed for me, who chastised me, who made me in part the man that I am today. So when I got ready to go away to college, that black church gave me $250. Hey, Rodney, thanks for joining the show. It wasn't a lot, but they took up a collection, and every graduating senior that was going away to college, they got a stipend. Now, that $250 was spent before I even left to go because of all the supplies and things of that nature. But my point is this, that I would argue that just about every black church in America has done something similar to every black student who has went on to college to be successful. If you grew up in that church, you got something. If nothing more than some little old lady, whether it was Mrs. Cheatham, whether it was Mrs. A.C. Shanks, or whomever it might have been, walked up and shook my hand and said, I'm proud of you. And when she pulled her hand back, there was $3 there. Now you're saying, well, $3, that's nothing. But to a little old lady who's 80 years old back then, to give me $3, that was life. Hello? Every one of you all have gotten that at some point. Every one of us who are successful today has gotten that type of love at some point. Even when I was down on my luck, because through this life, if you live this life, at some point, this life is going to slap you. In fact, it's not going to slap you. It's going to knock you down. It's not going to just knock you down. It's going to knock you down on your knees. No, it's not going to just knock you down on your knees. It's going to slap you, knock you down where you are prone, where your face is in the dirt, where you can't even get up. And it's going to be some little old black woman or some little old black man that reaches down and says, hey, boy, get out of that dirt. You don't belong there. I've been there, brothers and sisters. I've been there. This is why I do what I do. This is why I try to give back. That's why when people call me and say, hey, can you come speak to my group? I'm like, yeah. Now, we'll say how much you're paying. So oftentimes they say, well, we can't pay you anything. And then I'll say what I said to Dr. Doreen Lowry in Philadelphia. I said, well, if I can get there, can you pay my room and board? You don't have to put me up in some fancy hotel. Just let me have some place to sleep, and I need an internet connection. I know this works because I've lived it. Because I told you all last week, it was Dr. Doreen Lowry who called me and said, hey, the reason I want you to write something in this book that we are putting together about black male development is because it was you who said, I'm not going to charge you a penny. You got to give back. Sometimes you may not have nothing to give, but you can be like Miss Georgia over there at Mosaic Church, who every Tuesday, she invites any and every child, no matter their race, creed, color, or national origin, to come over and learn how to play chess. You got to give back. That's why Miss Georgia's being blessed. Now, why am I saying all of this? Because, see, I think some of you all don't get it. Some of you all don't get it. And I told you all about the experiment that I did about the sand and the hand. Woo! Man, I'm feeling good today. Some of y'all don't get it. Some of you young brothers grow up and you become millionaires because of your talent on the basketball court, or on the football field, or on the track circuit, or wherever. And I brought up track because I was watching the AAF games this weekend. I told you I'm a closet track freak. Y'all make all this money, you become these great rappers, and you make the liquor stores rich. You make the strip clubs rich. You make the owners of those strip clubs rich. And then you go back to your neighborhood on Christmas and give out turkeys. I think it's ironic that you give out a turkey, because that's what you are, is a turkey. Instead of setting up coding classes, whether that young person that looks up to you may not be a superstar basketball player, but that person might be a genius in computers, and all he or she needs is the impetus, the modus operandi to learn coding. But you're setting up a basketball camp and giving out turkeys. That person might not be a rapper, or might not want to be a rapper. That person might be want to be a classically trained musician or a ballerina. But you're setting up football camps. Y'all understand what I'm saying here? See, what you do with your money is just as important as how you make your money. There is no reason with the money that black people earn in this country that black people should be suffering. That doesn't get the government off the hook for its responsibility to the black community. No, I'm not saying that. But there is enough money in America for black people alone that if we simply funneled that money to our communities, we wouldn't be in the dire straits that we're in today. Our communities would not look like Lebanon and Palestine being bombed by the Israelis. But we simply refuse. We simply refuse to do any of that because we hate ourselves. We've bought into the psychological propaganda that black people aren't anything, they never were anything, and they never will be anything. Hello? We refuse to even books that are written by white people to tell us that what we've been taught is a lie. We refuse to even read them. We have black scholars who have spent their lives, who have gotten all kinds of educational and historic and anthropological degrees to show us who we are, where we came from, yet we will not even hear them because they are black, not understanding that your own self-hate and the white propaganda is causing you to have disdain for a brother and sister that looks like you. We are a sick people. We are a sick people. And if we're going to solve this problem, we need more Mr. Smiths. Mr. Smith didn't go to Washington. Mr. Smith went to Atlanta. In fact, Mr. Smith went to Morehouse and rocked our world. Now, you're not a Mr. Smith, but that $2 that you're spending at a white business, is there a black business that you can spend that $2 with? And if you need to spend it at the white business, why can't you spend $2 more at the black business? $1.2 billion annually is spent by black people. I don't want to hear the argument that we don't have the money. Any concert you want to go to, you go to. Any vacation you want to go to, you go to it. Any pair of shoes you want to buy, you buy them. Every suit, coat, dress, weave, you name it. Anytime you want to buy it, I don't care what your socioeconomic income is, somehow or another, you get it. You know, your mama used to say, the Lord will make a way. Hello? Talk to me today, brothers and sisters, because we're talking about empowerment. You know what? I don't really give a damn about white people and their empowerment. They got theirs. I care about black folks and empowerment. Sorry, white folks. Y'all got y'all's. I'm concerned about our people. I'm concerned about our people, black people, people of the diaspora. Sorry. No, I'm not. 855-525-5683. What are you going to do about it? Mr. Smith goes to Atlanta and he's shown us the way. But he wasn't the first. He will not be the last. We're beginning to see a new change of attitude. Fortunately, Jay-Z is one of those people. You made millions of dollars off the backs of black people. Yeah, you ought to give back. There's no excuse. None whatsoever. So I want to thank you, Mr. Smith. And I don't care if Oprah is upset. You got to do more, Oprah. Black people carry your water right now when sometimes they don't deserve to. They don't. Me as a black man, I don't care for Oprah one iota. You know why? Because for a long time, Oprah refused to put positive black men on her show. Every time she would put a black man on her show, he was a wife beater. He was incorrigible. He was something. He wasn't a positive brother. Hello? Now, I know y'all saying, well, you know, she had Steve Harvey on. Oh, that was years after she went through this where I'm not going to put black men on my show. When she put a black man on there, he was recovering from something. He had been through something. He had been the lowest of the low. He had beaten up his wife. 855-525-5683 is the number. What can we do to save ourselves? Because as Dr. Barber clearly stated, that white politicians are not going to do anything. As a matter of fact, Alexander Ocasio-Cortez over last week asked some law enforcement people, why is it so hard to identify acts by white males as terrorism, yet it's easy to identify them when it's someone of another ethnic group? Are you really expecting change from these people? The only thing they understand is money. The only thing that they care about is money. And the only way that we can make them hear us is affect their money. Hello? Your kids are still getting shot down in the street for cell phones. Your kid, look, I saw a video last week where this police officer harassed this young black boy. He was 9 years old simply because he was leaning on a car. Have y'all seen that video? Chased the young guy, caught him, put him in handcuffs, and the young boy peed on himself. This was one of your local law enforcements. Just for leaning on a car. It wasn't even a policeman's car. Look, last I checked, I don't know of any ordinances in any state in this union that says it's a crime to lean on someone's car. Hello? And then to chase the boy down and put him in handcuffs and embarrass him. There's a problem with policing in America. The only way we're going to stop it is with our dollars. We have to shut our dollars down. That $1.2 billion, excuse me, did I say billion? I'm sorry. I had a Freudian slip. It is 1.2 trillion. More than the 9th largest nation in the world, more than the gross domestic product of Canada. That's what the black community generates every year. If we took the black community out of America and made our own nation, we would be the 9th largest nation in the world. Yet less than 10% of that money goes to our people. We sick, massa. And we got to go to politicians to ask for handouts. $855-525-5683 is the number. Got to go out and take the top of the hour break. When we come back, more evidence for you. More evidence for you that the police departments in America are sick and they need a radical change. And the only people that can be radical, that dares to be different because they are destined to be great, are black people. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. Yeah, they're our issues. They're our community. It's our voices that we must initiate change, because if we don't, nothing will. Back in a moment.
clients the personal care and attention that larger law firms cannot offer. Our experienced attorneys have brought hundreds of cases to verdict in state and federal court and recovered millions for our clients. If you or a loved one have been injured or have property wrongfully damaged, we may be able to help. Do not hesitate to contact our firm anytime for a free attorney consultation. Call 1-800-848-1290. That's 1-800-848-1290. Or email inquiries at arkansas-personal-injury.com. Our law offices are centrally located at 212 Center Street in Little Rock. That's the law offices of James F. Swindoll, personal injury and products liability attorney serving Arkansas since 1977.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas to connect with a family-owned and operated service provider in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of a life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Fill your home for the holidays with Bedrock Mattress and More. Bundle and save for every room in your home. Package deals just in time for the holidays. Our first bundle starting at $5.98. Perfect for a dorm room. Bundle deal 2, only $15.99. Enough to fill your first apartment. And fill your home with our third bundle starting at only $24.99. Come get these deals while they last. Special pricing going on now through the end of the year. Celebrate this holiday season with something new from Bedrock Mattress and More. 3901 South University in Little Rock.
Hi, this is Alvin from Habibi's 4317 East Broadway in North Little Rock. We still have the green top at your very next stop. The same great service, but more out of it. Give us a call, 501-663-1553 or 664-2992, or call our toll-free number, 1-877-HABIBI-1. Diapers, pull-ups, hospital beds, wheelchairs, Simply Fit, diabetic supplies, underpads, and more. Your durable medical supply center.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
All right, welcome back to the show, Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. If you notice, there's a common theme in what's going on with this show, and it's been coming from almost day one. In fact, it's since day one, and that's economic empowerment for the black community. I truly believe that that is the key. Going and asking for handouts. Sure, our tax bill, we deserve whatever we get from the government. I'm not saying ignore what the government's responsibility is, but I'm saying to you that we raise enough money in our community, we spend enough money in our community that we can take care of a lot of things that are going on. Because, see, the only thing that white America understands is power, and the only thing that power supersedes power is money. Hello? Let me say that again. The only thing that white America understands is power. And what supersedes power in America is money. When you start affecting their money, then they'll start listening to you. But right now we have black ministers afraid to affect their money because if black ministers speak out against white America, then guess what? That hurts them. You know, there's an old Star Trek saying, now look, I don't mean to go Trekkie on you, but I'm going to go Spock on you. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Hello? It's kind of what Jesus did when he got those fish and barley loaves. He didn't feed just his homeboys, his disciples. Yo, Peter, hey, here's something for you, Paul. No, he didn't do that. He said, hey, I'm going to bless this food and we're going to feed the multitudes. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And right now, we in the black community are too few. And we are ignoring the needs of the many. And that's why we are suffering. And if we don't get our arms around this, pretty soon what's going to happen is that the white politicians in 13 states have already passed onerous anti-abortion laws. You don't think the civil rights are next? Oh, well, maybe you're not paying attention. You know they are already attacking the voting rights. They are already running interference for voting, voter suppression. You've heard these stories now for the last 18 years. But we have no power because, you know what? We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. 855-525-5683 is the number. Cliff, you're going to need to contact me after the show. This is what we got to do, folks. This is important. You say you love your children. Well, what are you doing for their future? You can't love your children and then when you die, you expect them. You just say, well, I'm dead, to hell with them. I tried to give them what they needed while I was alive, but you're dead now. You leave nothing for them. Maybe you believe that you have no power. Well, if you believe that, then their brainwashing has been successful. Because if you believe you have no power, collectively as a black community, then you're right. You have no power. And that's exactly what they want you to feel. 855-525-5683. So what I'm hoping that billionaire Robert F. Smith and his donation to Morehouse has done, that it has turned something on in your mind. I'm hoping that a switch, that switch that people have been reaching at, that we've been reaching at right here on Black Focus Radio, that Dr. William Barber has been reaching at, that switch that makes you realize that, oh, you know, when you have an epiphany, when you say, oh, now I understand, I'm hoping that that switch now has been tripped. I'm hoping that at one last gasp effort, that person, it's kind of like a kid who can't reach the light switch. Y'all have seen them. They jump and they miss. See, that's what we've been doing in our black community. We've been reaching at the light switch, but we can't grab it because we are too mentally short. Our mental capacities have been limited, so we can't reach that light switch. And I'm jumping and I'm jumping and I'm jumping. And then all of a sudden, something clicks. And with one last gasp effort, after you've grown, you see, because part of reaching the light switch, listen, part of reaching that light switch is that you gotta grow. Hello. Think about it. Think about when you were trying to reach that light switch. Think about when your son, your daughter, who was little bitty, and then all of a sudden they can reach the light switch. Well, what happened? That means that they grew. They got a couple of inches. So what we've got to do is grow. We've got to grow big enough and tall enough and strong enough that even though we might not be right at the switch, if we simply jump, throw caution to the wind and jump, that we can get that light switch. And once that light switch is turned on, man, we can see the world for what it really is. Because right now, black people have not seen the world for what it truly is. We've seen the world through the glasses of white America. So it's time to grow up, black people. And that includes your money. That includes your money. That includes investing. That includes not only your money, but your physical capital, which are your children. That means sending them to black universities. That means having them play for black universities. That means even building your own private black universities. 855 525 5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. That's how you get in touch with me. All right, so let's talk a couple of other things. One other thing that I did want to talk about is when you talk about these southern states. Now, if you'll do yourself a favor, usnews.com put out a report on the best states to live in. So if you want to find out where your state ranks, right now I'm in Arkansas. Wow. I can stop looking at the top 20. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let's do this. In healthcare in the state of Arkansas, I'm at 15 right now, and Arkansas hasn't come up yet. In healthcare, the same state that your governor wanted to kick 15,000 people off the health rolls so that he could pay his white cronies. Notice, I did say white cronies because he don't have any black cronies. Right now in healthcare, Arkansas is ranked 49th. And if you go down this list, I'm just looking at this list. The majority of the ones that are in the lower tier are southern states. Here's Mississippi at 50. West Virginia, Oklahoma, Alabama, Louisiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri. Georgia, woo, they up to 39th. That's in healthcare. See, I'm doing this because your politicians are taking you for a ride. Let's do education. What do y'all think Arkansas ranks as it relates to education? Those yahoos up on Capitol Street are taking you for a ride. They are pitting poor whites against poor blacks, and they are laughing all the way to the bank. They're doing nothing for their constituencies. None whatsoever. Let's talk about education. Where's Arkansas? Wow. They're 42nd. Let's talk about the economy. You can go out to U.S. News and World Report and look at this yourself. I mean, when I saw this, and I forgot who sent this to me, but I thank you for sending it to me. Because at this point, when a politician, if you are in the lower echelon, when a politician comes to you and says, hey, here's what we're doing for the state, they ain't doing a damn thing. Arkansas is 43rd. 49, 42, and 43. Infrastructure. All of the things that make your state great. Where's Arkansas on that? By the way, this link is on my website. You can go out and check your state. Infrastructure. Well, hell, we know by the roads. I drive these roads every day. The roads in Arkansas are terrible. They're 47th. These are your politicians at work. How is it that your politician, your governor, Governor Asa Hutchinson, can give a tax break to the top 1% in the state of Arkansas when Arkansas is averaging 45th nationally in everything that you need for living? Let me do opportunity. This is an in-depth study. This is one of the most in-depth ones that I have seen. Wow. Opportunity. So far. Wait a minute. Did I miss Arkansas on this? Is Arkansas not even on this list? Oh, there they are at 32nd. Here's my point, is that your politicians are lying to you. And they're lying to you in a way that is racist so that they can stay in power. Hello? Now, we can sit around and pretend that, oh, well, that's just how things are. You know, I've never been that type of guy who just accept how things are. Just never have. I believe we can change. You know how I know we can change? Because I change every day. Every day I learn something new. 855-525-5683 is the number. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's going on as it relates to police. So over the weekend, if you didn't hear, there was a person. And let me get to the article because I want to make sure. Now, this was reported by KTHV, Channel 11. It says, capital murder charge filed for man who killed one police officer and injured two others. A man who opened fire on police responding to a domestic disturbance report, killing one officer and wounding two others, was arrested Monday and charged with capital murder. Gary Wayne Wilkes, 29, was being held without bond in the shooting death of Officer William Buckner, who had been with the Auburn Police Department for 13 years. Wilkes also was charged with attempted murder and wounding of other officers, Webb Sistrunk and Evan Elliott, said Police Chief Paul Register. Both are expected to recover. The chief described Wilkes as a former member of the military who was working in the area and hadn't had previous contact with the police. The blue alert sent out after the officers were shot described him as wearing camouflage body armor and a helmet. But with helicopters hovering overhead, he didn't get far. An intense overnight manhunt led to Wilkes' arrest about 9 hours after the shooting, less than a mile from the Arrowhead Trailer Park, where the officers were hit. Information from a citizen helped police and U.S. Marshals take him down. Let me take that back. Arrest him. The chief called the arrest relatively uneventful and said no one was injured, bringing him into custody. Him being the person who had just killed one police officer 9 hours earlier and killed and wounded 2 others, and was described as a military person with camouflage and body armor. Okay? Lee County Coroner Bill Harris said the officer who was killed died in the emergency room. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, let me tell you why. The person who did the shooting, y'all already know, don't you? Did y'all notice something that I didn't say in that story? This person was apprehended. Did you notice that something I didn't say in that story? I didn't mention race because guess what? You already know his race. The fact that he was apprehended tells you his race. Hello? He had just killed 1 police officer. He had attempted to kill 2 others. He was a white man dressed in camouflage and body armor. Now, if it were me, now, I don't have the police training that they do, but let's just say if it were me, if I knew that you had already attempted to kill 3 people, 1 successfully, you were dressed in body armor, I'm on a manhunt to kill you. Wouldn't that make sense? But this cat right here, he lived to tell about it. They apprehended him. That was great police work. You know he had to be armed, right? He had camouflage and body armor. And obviously he was armed because he shot and killed an officer and wounded 2 others. So let me ask you a question. You know, when I read this story, prior to me posting it to my wall, and typically when I see stories like this, the same thing typically happens. Why weren't they afraid for their lives? Here's a man. Police were called because of domestic abuse. So we know that there was some violence going on in that house. Apparently he was beating a woman. Apparently. Allegedly, we don't know. They didn't say that in the story, but usually that's what occurs with domestic abuses. So, allegedly, he was beating a woman. Police got there. Apparently, he was ticked off at the police, and he shot and killed 1 and wounded 2 others. The 2 that was wounded apparently knew he had body armor. Maybe they exchanged fire, and it didn't do anything to him. Hello? Y'all follow me? Are y'all on the train yet? Are y'all following me yet? Because see, we got to start demanding answers. Our black ministers have got to start demanding answers. Our black politicians have got to start demanding answers. I don't care if you don't have the minority. Sometimes you just got to scream. This white man who killed a police officer and attempted to kill 2 more was apprehended. In fact, I saw a picture of him. He wasn't beaten. His face wasn't bloated. Hello? His face wasn't bleeding. He didn't have a knot upside his head. He was apprehended. So let me ask you a question, because see, this perplexes me. And sometimes when I get perplexed, I get frustrated. And see, certainly I've been frustrated for quite some time when I hear story after story after story of a black man being killed because he had a cell phone, or a black woman being killed because she was doing nothing but defending her honor, or another black man being, oh my God, just, I mean, what's going on here? Why am I being so confused about it? In fact, not just me, but why is the nation so confused? Why is it that white males who commit heinous acts are taken into custody and black men with cell phones or expired tags, or bad brake lights, or picking up garbage, or just walking down the street, or just walking down the stairs in your building? Why is it that black men end up dead with no weapons, and or with a BB gun, or in Walmart with a BB gun, or in a park with a BB gun? Why is it that black men end up dead or sleeping in their beds? Why are black children being killed by police officers when sleeping in their beds? I can't get my mind around this. You see, I don't want anybody to die. Lord knows I don't. But if someone has to die, shouldn't it be the person who just killed a police officer and tried to kill 2 others? Shouldn't it be the person who walks into a black church and opens fire on unarmed parishioners? Shouldn't that be the person that the police fear the most? I'm confused. I'm perplexed. As learned as I think I am, as complex as my mind is, I cannot understand this. Look, I know trigonometry. I know calculus. I know some astrophysics. Not a lot, but I know a little. I can understand it. I can have a conversation. I know how computers work, the inner workings. I understand coding. I'm a very learned person, but I cannot understand for the life of me why a black man with a cell phone can be shot down like a dog in the streets, and a white man who has committed murder of police officers lives to tell his story. I'm confused. I'm not often confused, but I'm confused. And you should be too. It's called white privilege. Let me give you an example that just happened this week in Arkansas. You know, we here in Arkansas know for a fact that we are inundated with white supremacy. We know for a fact that there are at least 8,000 people who identify as white supremacists. So what that says to me, if that's 8,000 people who identify as white supremacists, then how many are there really? Does that include their children? Does that include their wives? So instead of it being 8,000, it's probably close to 15 to 20,000 people who identify as white supremacists in Arkansas. Now, why is that important? Because, you know, Arkansas only has barely 3 million people. Hello? Y'all get that, right? But your governor has a son who's a criminal. And, you know, I typically don't, because sometimes as parents, you can't dictate how your children act. I'm going to be honest with you. My mom caught hell with my older brother, with one of my older brothers. Everyone who knows my mother will tell you that my mom is a wonderful woman. 93 years young, still kicking like a fat rat, old school style. But she had a son that was just off the chain, that she could do nothing with. I'm being real with you. So I'm not trying to blame Asa for his incorrigible son, but Asa needs to step in and have his son put in jail. Let me read you the story from ABC Channel 7. KTV content partner 5 News reports that the son of Governor Asa Hutchinson was arrested in Rogers Saturday morning. Now, he was arrested in Rogers. You all know what Rogers, Arkansas is. Those of you who don't live in this state may not know that Rogers, Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas proper is one of the most racist areas in the state. William Asa Hutchinson III was arrested on suspicion of DUI after police stopped him on 46th Street. He was taken to the Benton County Sheriff's Office, where he was held until he was sober. Let me read that again. Asa Hutchinson III, the son of the governor of Arkansas, was taken to the Benton County Sheriff's Office, where he was held until he was sober. According to jail employees, there was no record of a booking photo even taken. Y'all follow me? Y'all following this, right? By the way, this is not the first time that Hutchinson III has been arrested for similar offenses. He was arrested in Alabama in 2016 for possession of a controlled substance at a musical festival, and in Fayetteville for DUI, careless driving, and refusing to submit to a chemical test. He was arrested again in May 2018 on suspicion of DWI violation and the implied consent law and speeding. Hello? So this cat has been arrested 4 times on the same basic charges of drugs or alcohol. This last time he was arrested, they allowed him at the Benton County Sheriff's Office to basically sleep it off. They didn't even book him. They allowed him to sleep it off. They didn't even book him. Can you say white privilege? Because had this been a black man, you know he would have been booked. You know he would have been booked. You know he wouldn't have been allowed to sleep it off. Certainly not in Rogers, Arkansas. And not only that, this guy's had multiple offenses. He's a multiple offender. Why is he still walking around? Hey, Asa, will someone call the governor's office and have him to step in and have his son committed to jail? He needs some jail time, because if he doesn't, he's going to end up killing somebody. Hello? But, you know, it don't matter, because, you know, this is what you call white privilege. White privilege. Hello? These are your white Republicans. The law applies to everybody else but me and my homies and my family. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. This is thug behavior. Not just from Asa Hutchinson III, but those politicians. This is thug behavior. We're seeing it in Washington. This is thug behavior. Whereas it, hey, do as I say, but not as I do. It's kind of like some of you Christians out there who kicking it fat back at the club, and then on Sunday mornings you walk into church smelling like a liquor barrel. Ooh, girl, didn't we throw it down last night? Yeah, man, you see that brother, he was fine. Or you brothers, oh man, that sister was fine. I took her home and man, we went around the world. And then on Sunday mornings, you're talking about praise ye the Lord. So maybe I'm beginning to understand why we sit back and allow politicians to do it. Because maybe you do it too. Maybe you have some dirt on your shoes, some skeletons in your closet, that if you really criticize politicians, then you would have to check yourself. Let me give you another example of white supremacy and how it works. During his speech on the House floor this past Wednesday, Mo Brooks, a Republican from Alabama, announced that he has prostate cancer. Now, I don't mean to be mean or I don't mean to be crass, but I hope he suffers because he's a white racist Republican from Alabama. Need I say more? Here's what he says on the House floor. Don't ever take your health and family for granted. During the holidays, enjoy your family because no one is promised tomorrow. He said he was diagnosed this past October. He said, Martha and I are extremely grateful for the outpouring of support for our family during this difficult time and are optimistic for a full and speedy recovery. The story goes on to say that Brooks' announcement demonstrates the value of having health insurance and the reality that everyone gets sick at one time or another. It also highlights the disconnect between his rhetoric about health care and people's lived experience. Because, this Yahoo that wants sympathy, all of his testing will be paid for by the taxpayers. All of his physical therapy, all of his recovery, all of that will be paid for by the taxpayers. This guy, Mo Brooks. Now, let me just remind you of Mo Brooks. Just see, because I'm trying to prove to you that these Republicans really don't give a damn about you. They care about themselves, but they don't really give a damn about you. He goes on the House floor and he wants to elicit sympathy because he's been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Hello? But Mo Brooks ain't worried because you know what? Mo Brooks is not going to go broke trying to go to a doctor. Mo Brooks is not going to go broke trying to get prescription drugs because all of that is taken care of by the American taxpayer. I mean, this is the epitome of irony. While Republicans were trying to repeal Obamacare in May, Brooks, who introduced a one-sentence Obamacare repeal bill in March, went on CNN and defended Republicans' plan to allow insurance companies to discriminate against people who have pre-existing conditions, which he characterized as personal failings. So when you get cancer, that was your fault, dog. When you get lupus, that's your fault. When you get muscular dystrophy, or multiple sclerosis, or any disease that manifests itself when you've been living on this planet, that's your fault. Let's talk about what Mo Brooks said. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's hear what Mo Brooks said. I think it will ring home a little bit better. Let me pull this up.
Not be allowed to deny them coverage. But my understanding is, as you just mentioned, this new legislation would allow states to opt out and allow insurance companies to refuse to sell insurance to people with pre-existing conditions as long as there's some setup for them, pools of some sort. Is the president sending a message to Congress to change that provision, or do you not understand what was in the bill?
Well, that's not my understanding of the way the bill has been reframed. My understanding is that it will allow insurance companies to require people with higher health care costs to contribute more to the insurance pool that helps offset all these costs, thereby reducing the cost to those people who lead good lives, they're healthy, they're doing the things to keep their bodies healthy. And right now, those are the people that have done things the right way that are seeing their costs skyrocketing. Now, in fairness, a lot of these people with pre-existing conditions, they have those conditions through no fault of their own. And I think our society under those circumstances needs to help. The challenge, though, is that it's a tough balancing act between the higher cost.
So you all get that, right? Mo Brooks from Alabama, a United States congressman, basically said that people get sick because of moral failings. You didn't lead a good life. So that mother, who was married to her husband for 50 years, who ends up dying of cancer because he smoked a pipe, went to church every Sunday, raised children, graduated 5 children, all of them got degrees, they are contributing to society. Mo Brooks just said that she lived a bad life. That's why she got cancer. So this is so ironic that here he was last Wednesday on the House floor trying to elicit sympathy because he has prostate cancer. And he's the same person, the same Republican who is trying to kill your health care. He's not the only one, but dog bites man. Hello? Dog bites man. See, we got to get out of this mess. See, somehow or another, we've got to get people who are of like minds, whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're Hispanic, whether they're Asian, Jewish, it doesn't matter, to understand that we are the people of America. Not white politicians, and I say white politicians who feel privileged because they have been elected by the people. Because this is nothing more than privilege. Somehow or another, we have got to start talking to one another about politicians. Give you another example. Remember the abortion law that was signed into law by the Alabama governor who is white? Hello? Remember that? Here's what she says. The legislation stands as a powerful testament to Alabamians' deeply held beliefs that every life is precious. Now, Alabama ranks 50th in infant mortality rates. What you doing about that, Kay Ivey? Alabama ranks 49th in K through 12 education. What you doing about that, Miss Kay Ivey? Alabama ranks 45th in child poverty rates. What you doing about that, Miss Kay Ivey? Because you just said your words. I'm going by your words because, see, all I can do is judge a person by his or her words. You are the governor. You should have some credibility. You said this legislation, you know, that anti-abortion bill, that onerous bill that you passed, this legislation stands as a powerful testament to Alabamians' deeply held beliefs that every life is precious. Now, wait a minute. If that's the case, Alabama, how are you 50th in infant mortality rates? How are you 49th in K through 12 education? How are you 45th in child poverty rates? In fact, I believe it was U.S. News. No, it was the United Nations who did a survey and said that parts of Alabama are worse than third world countries. In America, hello. This is another example of politicians lying to you. And why do you all continue to believe this crap? Why do you all continue to vote them? Are you so bigoted and racist that you're willing to accept poverty, your children dying at alarming rates, your education being worst in America? Are you so bigoted and racist that you will ignore all of that because black people might get a hand up? And you'll let these politicians say and do anything. What the hell is wrong with y'all? See, this is why I tell you racism is illogical. Racism doesn't make any sense. Because it'll make you do things that doesn't make sense. It's kind of like the creek in the country. And because black people are getting water out of the creek, you decide to poison the creek, not knowing that you have to drink from that creek too. That's the best analogy that I can come up with, is that we all live on the same creek. Our sustenance, our life depends on this creek. But because you know that black people are living downstream and they're also living on that creek, you decide to poison the whole creek. It's kind of like what Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said, or at least was told by the white supremacists when she was on Donahue years ago. She asked him, she said, hey, what will happen if once 2042 gets here and America is predominantly minority? That white supremacist said, we'd blow it up. Well, look at what they're doing right now. They're blowing it up. They're trying to change the Constitution. You even have a president who is openly bragging about trying to change the Constitution, and you have a Republican Party who is carrying his water lock, stock, and barrel. This is white supremacy, folks. This is why I talk about it on a regular basis. This is why I don't shy away from it. Because, see, what has happened over the years is that black people have been lulled into a sense of false security. Just because you can eat at their restaurants, just because you might have a white friend, just because your son dates a white girl or your daughter dates a white boy, all of a sudden you think that white people love you. You don't realize what they're saying about your son and your daughter. You don't realize that even today white men teach their sons that you haven't really had sex until you've slept with a black woman. Over-sexualizing black women. Thinking that it's okay for white males to treat black women as sexual objects. Yeah, this is going on every day. Or them telling their white daughters, no, don't go and sleep with that black boy. He'll split you open. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're doing that today. These are some of your congressmen. Many of them have not even dared to renounce their bigotry and their racism, particularly in the southern states, but it has permeated throughout the northern states. My argument has been for decades that, hey, just because the South had slavery didn't mean that the North didn't participate. Hello, do your history. The North benefited from slavery just like the South. What happened, they got jealous of the South because we couldn't get free labor up here. We got to pay them Negroes. Hello? It's amazing what your history will do for you. 855-525-5683 is the number. Okay, so I promised you that I got to play some Malcolm X. This is a 12-minute piece that I want to play. So let me go ahead and get this queued up and ready for you because we've got to hear it. We just celebrated Malcolm's birthday, and what Malcolm has been saying to us, did I not get the right piece here? Ah, there it is. What Malcolm has been saying to us, it's about 8 minutes. Maybe we need to hear it. So here we go.
We all have the same problem. They don't hang you because you're a Baptist, they hang you because you're black. They don't attack me because I'm a Muslim, they attack me because I'm black. They attack all of us for the same reason. All of us catch hell from the same enemy. We're all in the same bag, in the same boat. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. All of them from the same enemy. The government has failed us. You can't deny that. Anytime you live in the 20th century and you walking around here singing, "We shall overcome," the government has failed. This is part of what's wrong with you. You do too Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging. You can't sing up on freedom, but you can swing up on some freedom. Cassius Clay can sing, but singing didn't help him to become the heavyweight champion of the world. So this government has failed us. The government itself has failed us. And the white liberals who have been posing as our friends have failed us. And once we see that all these other sources to which we've turned have failed, we stop turning to them and turn to ourselves. We need a self-help program, a do-it-yourself philosophy, a do-it-right now philosophy. It's already too late philosophy. This is what you and I need to get with. And the only way we're going to solve our problem is with a self-help program. Before we can get a self-help program started, we have to have a self-help philosophy. Black nationalism is a self-help philosophy. What's so good about it, you can stay right in the church where you are and still take black nationalism as your philosophy. You can stay in any kind of civic organization that you belong to and still take black nationalism as your philosophy. You can be an atheist and still take black nationalism as your philosophy. This is a philosophy that eliminates the necessity for division and argument. Because if you're black, you should be thinking black. And if you're black and you're not thinking black at this late date, well, I'm sorry for you. Once you change your philosophy, you change your thought pattern. Once you change your thought pattern, you change your attitude. Once you change your attitude, it changes your behavior pattern. And then you go on into some action. As long as you got a sit-down philosophy, you'll have a sit-down thought pattern. And as long as you think that old sit-down thought, you'll be in some kind of sit-down everywhere. It's not so good to refer to what you're going to do as a sit-in. Then right there, castrates you. Right there, it brings you down. What goes with it? Think of the image of someone sitting. An old woman can sit. An old man can sit. A chump can sit. A coward can sit. Anything can sit. Well, you and I have been sitting long enough, and it's time today for us to start doing some standing and some fighting to back that up. When we look at other parts of this earth upon which we live, we find that black, brown, red, and yellow people in Africa and Asia are getting their independence. They're not getting it by singing, "We shall overcome." No, they're getting it through nationalism. It is nationalism that brought about the independence of the people in Asia. Every nation in Asia gained its independence through the philosophy of nationalism. Every nation on the African continent that has gotten its independence brought it about through the philosophy of nationalism. And it will take black nationalism to bring about the freedom of 22 million Afro-Americans here in this country where we have suffered colonialism for the past 400 years. America is just as much a colonial power as England ever was. America is just as much a colonial power as France ever was. In fact, America is more so a colonial power today because she's a hypocritical colonial power behind it. What do you call second-class citizenship? Why, that's colonization. Second-class citizenship is nothing but 20th century slavery. How are you going to tell me you're a second-class citizen? They don't have second-class citizenship in any other government on this earth. They just have slaves and people who are free. Well, this country is a hypocrite. They try and make you think they set you free by calling you a second-class citizen. No, you're nothing but a 20th century slave. Just as it took nationalism to remove colonialism from Asia and Africa, It'll take black nationalism today
hey,
to remove colonialism
appreciate your comments.
from the minds of 22 million Afro-Americans here in this country. Looks like it might be the year of the ballot or the bullet. Why does it look like it might be the year of the ballot or the bullet? Because Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long. And they're fed up. They've become disenchanted. They've become disillusioned. They've become dissatisfied. And all of this has built up frustrations in the black community that makes the black community throughout America today more explosive than all of the atomic bombs the Russians can ever invent. Whenever you got a racial powder keg sitting in your lap, you're in more trouble than if you had an atomic powder keg sitting in your lap. When a racial powder keg goes off, it doesn't care who it knocks out the way. Understand this, it's dangerous. Because what can the white man use now to fool us? After he put down that march on Washington, and you see all through that now, he tricked you, had you marching down to Washington. Yes, had you marching back and forth between the feet of a dead man named Lincoln and another dead man named George Washington, singing "We Shall Overcome." He made a chump out of it. He made a fool out of it. He made you think you were going somewhere and you end up going nowhere but between Lincoln and Washington. So today our people are disillusioned. They've become disenchanted. They've become dissatisfied. And in their frustrations they want action. You'll see this young black man, this new generation, asking for the ballot or the vote. That old Uncle Tom action is outdated. The young generation don't want to hear anything about the odds are against us. What do we care about odds?
Boom, shaka, laka, boom. Now, the irony in what Malcolm just talked about is that we're living right now what he talked about. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? That's why I told you. I'm not marching for nobody. I'm not singing for nobody. I want change. The only thing I'm gonna do is fight for change. And as Malcolm said, it's either the ballot or the bullet. There is no other way. When y'all gonna wake up? Hello? I'm listening. Because I'm tired of black people being murdered in the streets by white cops who can't identify what a gun looks like, yet a white man can kill a cop and almost kill two others and he can be taken alive. A white man can walk in a black church and murder 9 people and wound others and he can be taken to Burger King, but a black man with a tail light out, with expired tags, walking away from a police officer can be murdered. I've had enough. Why don't you join me? Join me every day, Black Focus Radio. It's here every day. This is how we talk. We make no bones about it on Black Focus Radio, noon to 2 p.m. on joinnetradio.com.
You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our issues.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining me.
Our voices.
Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Get involved. No, don't get involved. Get active. How y'all doing? Yeah. I'm a busy scound booger these days. Oh, it's much better now that we've figured it out. Let me do this. I need to.
This is attorney Danielle Walker from the Walker Law Firm. Are you drowning in debt? Is your debt becoming unmanageable? Are you struggling?
Use the one sent from the link. The one I sent you.
Okay.
It's not going to be the one I use. This has been going on all. How long is the clip you sent him? Do you want to do the whole?
4 or 5 minutes.
You want to do the whole 4 or 5 minutes?
You sent it to Black Focus, right?